Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Good morning and welcome into Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090. Thank you guys again for joining us, making us part of your Sunday morning routine. In studio, we have the one and only Paul Carruthers back once again. Paul, good to have you, buddy.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Scott Cox back here one time. Scott, you had a long weekend up in Long Beach, too. Paul and I, we just did one day.
Good weekend.
You were up there for 3 or 4.
It was fun, though, wasn't it? The day we were up there with Wes Brown, motorcycle attorneys?
It was really good. I was impressed with how many people were at that show. It was good to see. It gives you a good feeling about the industry when you see that many people at that Long Beach show. I mean, for the last couple of years, it's kind of been down.
It was packed.
And almost a little depressing. And this one was like, I walked in there at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and it was packed already. Yeah. So
it was busy Friday night. They opened the doors, I think, at 4 p.m. And just wall
that's
to
good.
wall.
I mean, it was cool, too. There was a lot of new bikes for those people to see. Almost everybody had some sort of new model, and new Yamaha R1s and new KTMs and all sorts of good stuff for people to look at. And it was good. It was a lot of people.
And speaking of models, unfortunately, no Kitty this week. So breaks our 2-week streak of hanging out, Kitty and I.
I got a nice photo of us all with Kitty. So you can keep looking at that and let your memories.
Was she not into the cardigan thing? Was that your undoing?
She said she wanted someone a little more manly. And so, unfortunately, this was the time she should have been here because we have the guys from Hero Racing who just won their championship down in Baja. And
Speaking of manly,
absolutely,
we're going to get some manly stories towards the end of the hour.
Partying on Julian Hard Cider the entire time.
They retrace every kilometer.
Absolutely. And so we'll check in with those guys here at about 9:40. Also in studio, we have the lovely and talented Desiree Bates. She's the founder of the Fight for Ocotillo Wells. You can check out her website at fightforocotillo-wells.com. And Desiree, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You can tell it's not Desiree's first time on the radio.
No,
she's a pro.
She's pretty smooth.
Also, Broc Glover, unfortunately, is not here.
Unfortunately for us, not unfortunately for him. He's over there in Italy riding motorcycles, riding a David Philippart's Yamaha, and David Philippart's. Broc sent me an email yesterday and said, yeah, I have the world's fastest mechanic, because, they team up on this thing, the Transborgaro, and we'll share some stuff on our Facebook page, but just total bliss. He's there with Brad Lackey, Jeff Stanton, Danny Laporte, Chuck's son, and having a riotous good time.
Broc problems, right? We should be so lucky to have his problems.
I don't think he's golfing this weekend, though.
Oh, poor guy.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, I think he is. He told me he was bringing his club, so I bet he figured out how to squeezing around.
Bobby said he's bringing his club, and that's not a golf tour. We'll talk later.
Let's just throw it to the news here with Paul Carruthers.
Okay. We won't.
Bike Week Radio Show.
This was an age when only men were allowed to read the news.
And only Bike Week Radio Show has the editor of Cycle News.
And in San Diego, one anchor man was more man than the rest.
And now, here's the editor of Cycle News, Paul Carruthers.
See, I'm here. We can do the news now. It's all right, everyone. We can do the news. Hold on. Everyone, why are we all standing around? Let's go.
Former editor.
Yeah, we need a little edit on that.
No. We said it's your title.
It's permanent.
Emeritus.
Exactly.
Emeritus.
No, it makes me feel bad.
If anything, we need to add to it and say also communications manager of Moto America.
It makes me feel bad for poor Kit Palmer, actually took over the job and now has all those heartaches and headaches and.
Yeah, but think of the big bucks he's getting.
That's true. Let's hope he is. Anyhow. Last night, we had the final round of the Endurance Cross Championship. It was held at Citizens Bank Arena in Ontario. Cody Webb won the championship. Going into the event, I mean, it was pretty much, it wasn't a foregone conclusion, but, I mean, he would have had to have a bad night to not win the championship. And he finished second to Tadej Blazusiak, and that was enough to give him the title. Colton Hacker finished third in the main event, and that also gave him third in the title chase. Those were the three dominant guys in the series. Webb and his Beta won 3 times on the air, and that same amount that Taddy won on the factory KTM. Hacker and Taylor Robert were the only other riders in the series to take wins. Some exciting news from Enduro Cross is that for next year they've added 2 rounds to their series. Is that it's a championship that's continuing to grow in popularity, and it's good to see those guys adding some rounds. They're actually going to start their season during at the opening of Bike Week in Daytona. They'll race the night before the Daytona Supercross on March 6th. So that's a good place for them to start. It's a lot earlier start to the season than what they've usually had. I think they don't usually get running until about May. So it's cool that they're able to add a couple of rounds and get started earlier. The other new venue will be in Phoenix. So that gives them 10 events total, and in addition, they'll also do X Games again in Austin, where they moved that event to last summer. AMA Pro Racing announced its 2015 Grand National Flat Track schedule this week. They're going to have 12 events, including the season finale again at Pomona, even though when I left Pomona this year, the main talk was that it wasn't going to be on the schedule for 2015. So whatever they've worked out there with the horse racing people, or whatever it was that made them able to be able to do that again next year. That's good news for Southern California flat track fans, because it's our only round, and it's also a good one because it serves as the season finale. They also announced the AMA Pro Racing also announced name changes to the 2 classes that they run in the Grand National Championship. They will be known as GNC 1 and GNC 2. GNC 1 is the traditional Grand National Championship, the big class. GNC 2 is what was formerly known as Pro Singles. While we were in Long Beach last weekend, we didn't get a chance to talk about the Bercy Supercross. Eli Tomac ended up the king of Bercy. He completely dominated, won all 4 races in Paris. Justin Barcia was second. I think that's his first race on the JGR Yamaha. No, JGR? Yeah. Something like that.
JGR. Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yes.
JGR.
And Malcolm Stewart finished 3rd overall. The other news from motocross, it kind of took me by surprise, was that Jeremy McGrath has been named the Kawasaki Team Green brand ambassador. Now, most of us, when we think of Jeremy McGrath, we probably think of Honda, and we should, because that's where he won the majority of his titles. But he did win his first 125 West Region Supercross back in 1990 on a KX 125. So there is some history with Kawasaki, and Jeremy.
You just don't associate him with it.
You don't. I mean, but good on Kawasaki for being able to pull that off, and Jeremy, as we know, will do a good job with that. It's hard to think of a better brand ambassador than McGrath. I'd also like to offer some congratulations to Kenny Noyes. He won the Spanish CEV Superbike Championship last weekend. Kenny's an American, but he spends most of his time in Spain. But it was good to see that an American did well in an international road racing championship. It was nice to see, the Spanish are dominating in MotoGP, so it was nice to see an American go over there and win the Spanish Superbike Championship. So good on him. We also had Baja 1000, but I'm going to go ahead and defer all that to the guys that actually competed in the race, and from listening to them in the back room, they've got a bunch of stories. It'll be cool to.
Some of them we can actually repeat on air.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to tell a story from that race is to actually be in it. So it's nice to have some guys in the studio today that took part in that, and like I said, they've got some interesting stories that make you realize how difficult of an event that is to participate in. So
true. I've got a couple other things. The Genova Supercross is this weekend. Eli Tomac again was the runaway star there, but Justin Barcia took a pretty brutal hit to the back of the head last night. I guess he was chasing Christophe Pourcel, and I believe landed on Pourcel's bike. We've got some video that's being sent to us. And
is he okay?
He's in the hospital, but I think the prognosis is good. And it was kind of sad because he'd been over there for about a week. He's gone to the Lamborghini factory, gone to the Alpine Star factory, just having the total busman's holiday, and gets to the race. and riding well, doing well, but man, what a drag. Whether he's injured here or injured over in Italy, it's quite a change to his program. But we'll learn more and we'll post more as the show and the week goes on. And did we talk about Broc Transborgaro?
No, we haven't.
Well, Broc's over participating in the annual Transborgaro event in near Turin, Italy. He's there with Danny Laporte, Chuck Sun, Jeff Stanton, and Brad and Lori Lackey, and they're having a great time. And as I understand it, it's a festival that started. It's kind of in conjunction with the city of Borgaro, and they fund this reunion every year of racing heroes, and it's kind of a cool format where they team heroes of yesterday with heroes of today, and they ride a variety of different bikes, and it's not a full-blown hardcore competition, but Broc, I know, is very eager to go participate this year, and I know talking to the Laportes and to the Lackeys after they came back from it last year, it's something that maybe we should lobby to do a remote show from Italy next year.
Especially if they foot the bill, yeah.
Especially if we're the media. Working press, right?
Count me in.
Well, Glover's entourage, you can't just fly Broc out by himself.
This was just, they tried, but they're going to meet us next year.
Well, unfortunately, yes, Broc is across the pond, and he gets these cool adventures, and we have to stay here in studio in our little box. But, maybe next year.
Oh, I have a message from him. He says, I asked him if he'd call in. He says, no, I have no cellular phone plan over here. Ridiculously expensive. I just use my wireless at the hotel to send emails. So he'll give us a
flip phone. His flip phone doesn't work in Italy.
Yeah.
Well, Amazing. Now all I want to do is call him.
Yeah, let's just keep calling him.
All righty. Well, coming up next, Desiree Bates is here in studio. We're going to talk about the fight for Ocotillo Wells. And Desiree, born and raised here in San Diego, has some very cool stories, a great, very special attachment to Ocotillo Wells, just like I'm sure many of you listening do. So if you also have questions for Desiree and want to jump in on the conversation, you can start dialing up now, 877-792-1090 or 858-457-1090. But here again is one of those helpful riding hints from our good friends at Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades. And here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
Most people don't know that you can be cited for actually traveling too slow. You cannot drive upon a highway at such a slow speed so as to impede or block the normal and reasonable movement of traffic unless a reduced speed is necessary for safe operation because for grade or in compliance with the law. It is also illegal to stop your vehicle on a highway if you are impeding or blocking the normal and reasonable movement of traffic unless a stop is necessary for safe operation or in compliance with the law.
This helpful hint has been brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
Hi, James here from Toyota of Escondido. Guys, if you're into motocross and you want to get your bike out to the track in style, there's only one place to shop, and that's right here at Toyota of Escondido. If you're looking for the 2013 Toyota Tacoma or the Toyota Tundra, Toyota of Escondido has them and many more. The largest selection in San Diego. And before you waste your time anywhere else, looking for some limp lane pickup, stop by or give us a call. Toyota of Escondido.
Toyota of Escondido.
Freeway close where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
For 46 years, Costa Mesa Speedway has been the most exciting, colorful, and unpredictable live-action show ever. From the comfort of grandstand seating, your friends and family will witness top professional speedway motorcycle racing, insane two-man sidecar teams, Harley hardcores, freestyle motocross, and much more. Check out their entire schedule at CostaMesaSpeedway.net. Costa Mesa Speedway on the Orange County Fairgrounds Saturday nights. Don't miss it. CostaMesaSpeedway.net. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown, 1-800-4BIKERS, and online at russbrown.com.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, mighty 1090. Coming up next segment, we will have the guys from Hero Racing and Julian Hard-Cider here in studio. Always a pleasure having these guys in for their yearly visit.
Especially when they bring all this hard cider.
Well, especially when they bring all their hardware, too, as well, all their trophies.
Oh, yeah. That's how they roll. But they don't travel without it.
Their standard post-show or post-race victory platform interview coming here on Bike Week Radio Show. We won again.
Yeah, that's right. Championships.
Yeah, still doesn't get tired of it. I still like the interview every time.
I like
new stories, new championships.
Yeah.
Always good to hear from those guys, so that'll be next segment. But in studio right now, Desiree Bates, fightforocotillo.com is the website where you guys will hopefully get signed up and join here at the end of this interview once you inspire everyone to go to fightforocotillo.com.
Hopefully, yes, please.
Well, Desiree, we were talking in the back a little bit about how you got involved and your history and your special relationship with Ocotillo Wells. So why don't you start there of how you became so involved and why it's such a passionate issue for you?
It's in my blood. My family's been going there since before I was born, really. So I've been going since I was literally 3 months old. And Ocotillo Wells was a lot bigger when I was a kid, and so it's just been condensed down more and more. And so a couple years ago, there was geothermal drilling was kind of affecting the state parks. They wanted to put geothermal drills out at Ocotillo Wells. And so this was pre-Facebook, so it was up to my friends and I to drive campsite to campsite and pass out flyers, because the problem that happen is because that people aren't informed. People don't know what's going on, and so it's a lot easier for stuff like this to pass because people aren't aware. And so when I found out about the lawsuit affecting Ocotillo Wells, I jumped on Facebook, and the group just grew, and people were concerned, wanted to know what was going on, and so it was a great way to inform people. So that's kind of how I got it started. It became a Facebook page, and now I've teamed up with the San Diego Off-Road Coalition, and now it's a legitimate committee from the San Diego Off-Road Coalition. So
you teamed up with guys like Ed Stoven, former guest on the show. He's been there 2 or 3 times, guys.
Yes, he's on Corva, but we all help each other. So it's everybody from Tierra del Sol helps Corva helps San Diego Off-Road Coalition. So now Fight for Ocotillo Wells is just amongst all that. So
what's the average guy? You mentioned pre-Facebook, you're cruising around with your colleagues and you're going to Paul's camp there, and he's barbecuing some steaks, and he's got his 3-wheeler there. I mean, what do you say to the guy? Say, hey, by the way, you're not going to be able to do this, or
I just walked up, introduced myself, and hey, did you know that they want to put geothermal drills in our state park? Here's what you can do about it. Just go up to talk to people, get to know people, because part of my goal too is to unite off-roaders, because that's really what's going to be that when we can get united and stand up together is how we're going to be able to fight this better.
And what is a geothermal drill?
It's like, it's a drill that taps into the warmer waters that's beneath the soil, and so they can power, geothermal
energy.
Yes.
I pulled that out, guys.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job. Thanks.
Which would effectively just eliminate, if they're putting it in Paul's campsite, no more camping there.
Right, and
Once
how
the
it
drill's
was
in place.
and how it was set up at the time was it was a checkerboarded little pattern that would have kind of like really taken place throughout the park and through BLM land, which really it would have disturbed a lot of the off-roading in Ocotillo Wells. So that was a big deal back then, and luckily it didn't pass because the soil wasn't warm enough under the ground. So it didn't pass because of that, not because off-roaders got involved and
They
said,
just didn't want it.
So we just got lucky on that.
They came in, stirred it up a little bit, scared us. Well, you know what the good news is? You reacted to it.
Yes.
So that gave you a good reason to get involved.
It reacted, and that's what started this whole fight for Ocotillo Wells, because now I don't want that to happen again. I don't want off-roaders to not be informed.
So there's been several battles since then.
Oh, there's so many, and so that's another reason why my part of this is to market, the coalitions and try to get people involved, because there are so many things that people don't know what is even going on. People are so uninformed.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That one's pretty broad on many issues. And so who exactly are you guys trying to fight? Who's suing who? And give us that rundown.
Yeah, what's the latest rundown on all the issues
So,
there?
just a brief history. The lawsuit is over... it's over trail riding, basically. So what's going to happen... Well, let me back up. So there's a group called PEER and the DPC, and they're suing the state park, and they want to condense it down to a trails-only situation because they're saying that off-roaders are degrading the soil. So there's a lawsuit in court right now, and it's currently processing. So there's not much new going on, except now Corva, Tierra del Sol are getting together and hiring archaeologists to combat their evidence. So PEER has submitted evidence, what they're considering evidence, and so now Corva and TDS now has to hire archaeologists to find... to basically to show that this evidence that they're submitting is not taking place.
So at least we're making them do some work.
Yes, they're making us do work too, and it costs us money.
Right.
And so what are some of the evidence that they're specifically going at? I have in my notes flat-tail horned lizards. Is that?
Well, that's a completely different issue from the lawsuit. So, but the evidence that they're submitting, we don't know, because it's all in court right now. So, like I said, it's really hard to give an update because it's in court. So we don't really know exactly what's going on, what they're submitting. That's confidential information.
So if we were to lose this, what do we know? What?
If we were to lose this, then it would be the state park as we know it would be condensed to a trails-only situation.
Okay. So it just limits the amount of places that we have to ride.
Right. We would only be able to stay on the trails that they designate.
Okay.
So what we can go to now, like I like Hell's Half Acre, it's just the goat trails off into, rocks. And so that wouldn't be a designated trail. That would be considered off of a trail, and we wouldn't be able to go there anymore. So you would stay on just designated routes like to Shell Reef or whatever, or something, flat and boring possibly. Who knows? But the problem with that also is that once you get people on a trails-only situation and you get people with the volume of a Thanksgiving weekend out there on a condensed trail, like you're going to have a lot of problems. You're going to have a lot of injuries. It's going to be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So the average guy, they don't know anything about it. They're listening to the show right now, and they say, I'm planning a trip out there for Thanksgiving. This is something that I want to be able to do for the next several years. What should the non-connected person do right now? How can they get involved?
Well, doing your part is really important. So a lot of people are really good off-roaders, and, that's very helpful, cleaning up your campsite, keeping your campsite clean. That's a start. Donating to these coalitions so that we can help pay for these lawsuits, that would be secondary. What you can do to further off-roading into the future is get involved in a coalition. I can't stress that enough. You need to be informed. You need to know what's going on. And these things are going to arise all the time. We have to fight for our desert lands from now on. This is how it will be. So you need to get involved. You need to join a coalition and know what's going on, because these things happen because we're not informed.
So a connection to the coalition I mean, I'm seeing one thing, Fight for Ocotillo Wells SVRA on Facebook right now. There's a portal to get to these coalitions. Where else would you recommend people go to online?
You can go to fightforocotillo-wells.com. I have links to all of the organizations that are involved.
Okay.
Corva, Tierra del Sol, San Diego Off-Road Coalition, Friends of Ocotillo Wells. These are all coalitions who I go to their meetings. I mean, like I said, we all help each other out, so it's not just one group, we need to be united, and they all understand this. So, just joining one of those coalitions, just finding out what one you want to join, and go from there.
And it's not just these coalitions, too. You said it's really anybody who enjoys outdoor activities, because if we can really be one big giant voice instead of 5 little voices.
For sure. In the case of the flat-tailed horned lizard, the Center for Biological Diversity is suing to put this the flat-tailed horned lizard on the endangered species list. And so what the Center for Biological Diversity does, though, is they attack not just off-roaders, they're attacking boaters, too. So they're attacking...
We got to get those guys involved.
Guys that were just in here.
Yeah.
Right? So they're attacking because we're a small, unorganized group of people, so we're easier to attack. So they have all these animals on the list, and then if they don't get that animal on the list, guess what? We're going to get the horny-toed frog lizard. Or,
there's an endless list.
There's an endless list of animals that can be potential endangered species, and that costs us money, and it can also, bankrupt the organizations that are fighting if we don't have that help behind it.
Well, I think we speak for all of us. We don't want to see the flat-tailed horned lizards go away, but...
Of course not. That's no.
Which I've always referred to as a horny toad.
Well,
right?
I thought they were flourishing, too.
Technically, it's now, for the first time in my life, I realize it's a flat-tailed horned lizard.
Well, I think if something's named horny, there'd be a lot of them.
Yeah. Or not, they were consumed. So I notice you've got some fundraisers. I'm on the website right now, fightforocotillo-wells.com. That's Ocotillo, Ocotillo Wells.com.
Yeah,
and you've got a fundraiser going on there, one of perhaps many fundraisers, huh? Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, so we have I'm teaming up with Cal VMX Motocross. It's a vintage motocross class.
Friends of Bike Week Radio Show, by the way.
Yeah. So they do vintage racing, typically, but they actually have modern support, too, and they do three-wheelers. It's so awesome. They have a three-wheeler class and everything, so if you have a three-wheeler, you can bring that out and race it. They have modern, vintage, side hack, whatever. So bring that out to Quia Creek Motocross on December 14th, and just sign up for a regular Cal VMX class, and then you can race the Fight for Ocotillo Wells class for a minimum $10 donation. So it's a full day of racing, and it benefits the Fight for Ocotillo Wells and Cal VMX, too. So
good organization, a lot of fun, and there's a positive result instead of just getting all sweaty and riding your 1986 CR250.
You get a race.
That's a three-wheeler.
You get a race all day.
All day?
Yeah.
All day.
I think this group doesn't have the stamina to go all day, but maybe a half day for you guys, and then enjoy and cheer everybody else.
Us guys.
Yeah.
All right, 2 races.
Not you.
Let's talk about the Fight for Ocotillo Wells Desert Cleanup number 3. Tell us about that.
Yeah, numero 3. So next year we're going to have the cleanup number 3, and it's going to be paired up with the Roughneck Rendezvous for Friends of Ocotillo Wells, San Diego Off-Road Coalition. It's a 3-day event. So on Friday it's going to be like this astronomy, meet and greet. So you can go out there and you can look at the stars, look at the telescopes, learn what planets are in the sky at that time of year, and just meet other off-roaders. On Saturday it's a geocaching event where it's very cool for dirt bikes, actually. If you have a geocache, or if you have a
GPS,
then you'll download all these coordinates, and then you
go find
all these caches, and then we'll have raffle prizes at the end of the day. That's barbecue,
fun.
So that's fun.
Fun for all ages.
And then on Sunday, we'll have the desert cleanup. So you come out, you have fun, and then Sunday help clean up the desert.
And this is number 3. How did number 2 do? Good participation?
Yeah, it came up kind of quick. So for the amount of people that were out there, and it was windy, the weather conditions weren't that great, but we had about 40 people show up, which was a decent amount of people. We had raffle prizes, and we raised more money than we anticipated on raising for the day.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Desiree Bates, once again, you can check out the website, fightforocotillo-wells.com, and I hope everybody out there got inspired because, like you said, it's all about just being a part of an organization.
Yes.
And, you know, the more people, the bigger the voice, and the more we can help this fight and keep our land.
Desiree's also a metal artisan. She was telling us about Born Dirty MX and your jewelry making business. Tell us about that, your metal working business.
I just like to do metal art. I have done it for customers. I have done a dungeon for a photographer. So, yeah, I have done some stuff, but it's more... I knew that'd pique you guys' interest.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the dungeon you're thinking, too. But, yeah.
Next door to Bobby's...
Horny Bobby's going to be on that endangered list pretty soon.
Oh, my.
So, other than that, it's kind of a hobby.
What were we doing talking about Ocotillo Wells for the first half?
Lizards,
we should have got right to that stuff. Anyway. Well, Desiree Bates, fantastic. We got to get you back in studio again and keep us updated on all the fun stuff you guys are doing over there.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up next, the boys from Hero Racing are in studio. Paul Thomas, Giovanni Spinali, and John Griffin are here, and then I'll be splitting one mic, but it'll be an
like
adventure.
a singing group.
Well, that's how you know it's good teamwork. They're like, no.
Do that once in a while.
Yeah, we can do one mic.
We share a hotel room, a cot, and a microphone.
They're a Scott Cox away from the Barbershop Quartet.
They really are.
All right, fellas from Hero Racing coming up next right here on Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Hi, James here from Toyota of Escondido. Guys, if you're hearing this commercial, that means you are into powerful machines that go fast and are durable. Toyota of Escondido has the biggest selection in San Diego of Toyota Tacomas and Toyota Tundras. Whether for work or play, we can customize the truck of your choice into the truck of your dreams. Don't waste time anywhere else. Stop by or give us a call. Toyota of Escondido. Freeway close where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown, 1-800-4BIKERS, and online at russbrown.com. For 46 years, Costa Mesa Speedway has been the most exciting, colorful, and unpredictable live-action show ever. From the comfort of grandstand seating, your friends and family will witness top professional speedway motorcycle racing, insane two-man sidecar teams, Harley hardcores, freestyle motocross, and much more. Check out their entire schedule at CostaMesaSpeedway.net. Costa Mesa Speedway on the Orange County Fairgrounds Saturday nights. Don't miss it. CostaMesaSpeedway.net.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, Mighty 1090. And the champions return in studio victorious once again.
Once again. That's why they call them heroes. Hey, where's our David Bowie bumper?
Hey, I'm just glad he's better at riding a motorcycle than he is at dealing with headphones.
Right, well, I ambushed him here. We're like, oh, we're going.
Hey, remember he makes beverages.
I'm not sober right now.
We have Paul Thomas, Giovanni Spinali, and John Griffin here from Hero Racing, and they're back from Baja, Score 1000, once again victorious, and thank you guys for joining us in studio.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we lucked out for the season. We won 4 out of 5 races, and the 1,000 was grueling. We were in first place, went to second place, went back to first place, ended up in third place. Our other teammates that are not here, Tony Hammers and Dan Walsh and Mike Carter, the 6 of us gave it everything that we had, and overall we had a very good season. Most importantly, we gave away a few prosthetics this year to some wounded Marines. That's what Hero Racing stands for, helping everyone reach out. So we combine racing with trying to help as many people as we can. And we bring goods down to the Rancho Santa Marta Orphanage and down in Baja. And we also helped out with Roger Norman and Score at a facility for neurological rehabilitation of children down in La Paz, and spent an afternoon with the kids down there. And at the end of the day, that's really what we love doing is being able to ride. Race is great, but we're just in love with Baja. We had the opportunity. We were talking about it yesterday. We were given the opportunity to be given a Class 1 buggy, and with all the fixings, and we were really excited about that. And then it all settled in the next day when I was down with Gio in La Paz. We said, at the end of the day, we're just not moto. We're not car guys. And this is just what we love doing. The camaraderie that we have. I mean, we have close to about maybe 30 people that assist with our team, volunteers, from Chase. You have guys at Baja Pits. You have all of our great sponsors. I mean, Broc was fantastic. All the races, he gets Dunlop on board. So, all these things, they really cut into our expenses. But we feel an obligation when we get a lot of that goodwill from our teammates and from the sponsors to be able to go and transfer it down to a lot of the families and kids that are less fortunate, and turn them on to the sport and racing and get them excited about us and Score. So it's worked out well for us.
And like you said, you guys are going down there helping out, and occasionally you need their help too if something happens along the trail. It's a nice symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, I mean, Gio will tell you about what happened with him, but even with pre-running, because with the a lot of the issues down the south right now with the post-hurricane, it was the roads were just horrible. So when I was actually pre-running, I had to go pick up Mike Carter at the end of his section. It was turning night, and I was on a remote road. One of our other guys had just gotten stuck. We unstuck him, and then I took off, and I was in my truck, and the road gave out. And it was pitch black, and I realized that I left my satellite phone in the other truck. I'm in the middle of nowhere. My truck is high-sided. I had to just try to find anybody. I ended up going door to door. I got a farmer with a tractor to come and pull me out. And, it's just one of those, just great, Baja stories. Gio will tell you, his adventure. And then John's really good with just recapping everything that kind of happened with the race. So.
Hey, is this a radio show or a photography?
Hey, we document every minute of this.
We're infamous now.
Weekly escapade.
Well, we're going to take some pictures here, and then we're heading to the dungeon that Desiree built. So.
Yeah. The dungeon that Desiree built.
I hope they don't make me wear those painful shoes again.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, so Gio would be really good to give you an idea of like some of the stuff that he does.
Zero in on that one thing that you told us about. You pre-ran, which is the case for many people. You pre-ran under one type of condition, and you race under a completely different set of conditions. Tell us about that, Gio.
Right. We pre-ran during the day, and my section was along the beach, and it was like a lagoon. And it was great at pre-running, but it was low tide. Well, I didn't get on the bike till like 10:30 at night, and I didn't get to this section until probably 1 or 2 in the morning. So
just riding along, listening to your iTunes.
Well, it wasn't like that, but so it's going across. I thought a dry lake bed, and it wasn't dry anymore because it was high tide, and I don't know. I was probably going about 60 or 70, and I hit this pretty much a lake, and it was. I almost
Did you go swimming?
No,
body surfing.
I almost got thrown over the bars, and I just held the throttle pin, but the bike just started to sink more and more. And I finally jumped off the bike and ran alongside of it with the throttle wide open until it just buried itself. And I was like knee deep in mud and stuck in the middle of nowhere, and there was nobody around. It was 2 in the morning.
You're like, I'm done. I just finished the race for us.
Yeah, I thought our race was.
I'll never be able to face my teammates again.
Yeah, it was a pretty desperate situation, and basically I got on our sat phone and I called our chase and I said, I'm stuck. I mean, they could tell I was at mile 8:15, and the bike had stopped, and there was really nothing I could do. I pulled and yanked on the bike. I mean, I was laying in the mud trying to just pull the bike on top of me, just trying to get it out of the mud, and it was getting worse. It was almost like quicksand. So I actually, I said a little prayer, and all of a sudden I see these lights coming. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I had a blinking red light on my back of my pack, and I was waving it and walking towards this vehicle, but it was about a mile away. And they got out with flashlights. It was like a Mexican guy and his girlfriend. They didn't speak any English. They were probably there to see the race. And
you speak fluent Spanish.
No,
right?
I don't speak much at all. But I got the.
Pretty much didn't have to say much when they saw the situation, I'm sure.
Exactly. Well, they couldn't see the bike because it was a mile away from where they were.
Oh, okay.
But I was on all my gear, and they could tell I was.
Were you concerned that the tide's coming in, the bike's getting deeper and deeper?
It was getting deeper and deeper as I was pulling it out. It was like an old Gilligan's Island episode. I was like, this thing might
Except no
disappear.
skipper and no Marianne.
Exactly. So they followed me with their flashlights. They jumped in the mud, him and his girlfriend. I was like, I couldn't believe it. But we just started pulling on this bike, and she actually got stuck in the mud, and we had to pull her out of the mud. It was that deep. And so I finally.
The race is still on at the.
Oh yeah,
you're still racing.
Oh yeah, we're still leading our class. Yeah, and so basically we just grabbed the front wheel, pulled it out inch by inch, back wheel inch by inch.
Jeez.
And
so how much time is going by at this point?
I would say from start to finish a good 45 minutes.
And you're freaking.
Oh yeah.
So nobody else is racing by, or they? I mean,
not yet.
Okay,
but I'd say like within.
And then you're pointing to the thing to tell them to go there, especially if they're your rivals, right? You want them to go on the same line.
Well, it's so dark out. Nobody could really see much. But, yeah, I'd say about 5 minutes before we got it unstuck, one bike went by, which I eventually passed them back.
Smoked them.
But I thought our race was over, and then the locals helped. That was the first time they helped me.
So they both jump in the mud and just start pulling out?
Jumped in the mud and started yanking the bike out. Him and her. I mean, it was great.
So you had to be totally elated. I mean, you get the bike, and the bike's running.
Oh, the bike's running good, and I was back on the course. I didn't have goggles because those were buried.
So now it's about, 3 a.m.?
Yeah, it's probably about 3 a.m. And then.
Do you have radio communication? Are you talking to Paul going, hey, I've got a little issue here?
Not Paul, but some of my other teammates who I think related to Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you ever get to find these people again and just say thank you? Or is it just like, hey?
I said thanks. I gave them my number. I was so much mud on it, I wiped the plate off, and I showed them my number. I told them they could probably contact me that way. I haven't heard from them, but.
Yeah. They could have been at the post-race party or something. That would have been cool. But
right. Well, I asked if they were going to go to La Paz.
I think we got an email saying, we're Bike Week Radio Show fans. We heard you guys on last year. We just wanted to help you guys out. And so, it was Jose and Marie.
You sent them down
Fernandez.
there.
Yeah. And so I said, hey, keep an eye on Giovanni, our good buddy. So you're welcome,
Yeah. That was us, We were like your co-pilot.
Right. And so I'm sure there were some other stories out there, but that had to be the biggest hurdle to overcome for you guys, right?
Yeah. Well, the second part of my ride was the last 50 miles, and I'd say with about 25 miles to go, the front tire came off the wheel. And
how fast were you going when it decided to leave?
What's that?
You were like, you're just putting along like 40, 50 miles an hour?
No, I was actually trying to catch second place at that point.
So you're going 100?
No, I was probably going about 60 on a clean fire road.
You're going, that's weird. There's another tire out here.
Oh, the front end of the
that's
bar
mine.
started to shake almost out of my hands, and then I looked down, and 3/4 of the front tire was off the wheel. I'm like, oh my, I can't even believe this is happening now. So, I mean, we're so close
after surviving the mud.
Right. So I pulled in again to the nearest Mexican fans that were on the, because they're just lining the whole track the last
God
50
love 'em.
miles. Yeah. And I never even got off the bike. They had screwdrivers. They were putting the tire back on. I grabbed some zip ties, and they were zip tying the tire back on for me. It took about 15 minutes, and I was back on the road. Yeah, I had a beer with them. At that point, all we had to do was
nerves.
Yeah,
that's medicinal. Yeah, didn't have any Tylenol, but had a couple of Tecates.
Exactly. So, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the fans, we probably wouldn't have finished this race and won the championship.
And that's what's so different about that race than any other one, really. I mean, usually you go race your motorcycle, you don't get any help from anybody.
No, you get endless help down there.
Right.
Yeah, even when you're just riding. It's great, because one day I was down there shooting one of the Baja races, and I see these guys like damming up, like going towards Mike's, right? There's it had rained. They're like damming up the water across the trail, and I'm going, they didn't do anything like totally treacherous, but I'm thinking, well, what's the thought process here? And I pulled one of them aside. I go, what are you doing? And he actually wasn't part of that group, but he goes, they're not trying to injure the riders. They want to slow them down a little bit, and they want to be part of their success. So they wanted to be able to say, when Gio came by on that Hero Racing motorcycle, I helped him. I got him through this obstacle. Granted, it was an obstacle I created, but
so
it wasn't a fast section, and it wasn't a booby trap that I would. It was like a little.
I bet that's where you stood and took your photos, though.
Hey, you got to grab your shots where you can get them.
And so join us on mic now, John Griffin. And John, tell us about your time on the bike.
Well, I had a great experience on the motorcycle, and I just contribute to that, Baja thing and the people that are standing there and wanting to see action. And, as Baja racers go and with experience, when you see people, you're always looking. So, if you're an experienced Baja racer, when you see people standing around, it's time to put on the brakes and slow down because there's probably a jump. And usually, in my experience, 99% of the time, it's something that they just dug a little ditch to make a jump, and they dig one end and make a little mound. Certainly, there's been some malice here or there, but generally, it's you put on the brakes, you see what you got going on, and then I usually wheelie and yell for them and woohoo as we go by,
and they love it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So one of the fun things that I had was down by El Rosario, a little Mexican village. They had actually made a jump with a tractor. Now, it was there when we pre-ran, and I don't know if Score had made it or someone made it, but it was a full-length launch pad, really, for like trucks, and so they had dug it out of the sand wash. So when we pre-ran, I noticed that it's a pretty good launch, but a big ditch afterwards, and then wherever all the trucks would land, and then gas it. There's a nice whoop afterwards. So lots of fans were standing there, so I had pre-run it just 2 days before, so I launched it for them and got some big air, was able to clear over the whoop and the jump and land out in the wash, so we got some fans along the way. So that's always fun, but I had a great section. I rode from race mile 241, which is pretty close to Camalú, a little town there, and along the ocean on the Pacific Ocean side. I rode to 471, which is El Crucero, and just had a great day. For me, it was everything was clicking, bike was working well, and I can look back and say there's probably only 4 corners that I missed where I kind of overshot the corner a little bit. Usually you look and see, there's a little bush or whatever. I'm not going to kill myself if I do go over the corner, so you kind of let the bike go there. But we had good rides up north, and everything was going well. And we were started about 13th overall. Our guy had come in safe. The first, I always tell the guys in the start, you got to just bring it in. Don't go crazy in the dust. That's where everything.
Any new riders this year? Do you have any guys that hadn't raced with you before on the team?
We did. We had Dan Walsh started the race for us, and another rider was Tony Hammers. And so Dan had finished 3rd overall in a Baja 1000 before, so he definitely had some great Baja experience. And so we were thrilled to pick up some extra guys because having more riders with 1,275 miles is really important, and when you can have fresh guys coming in every couple hundred miles, that's excellent. So Dan did a great job of bringing it in, no crashes, and we came in like 3rd in the 40 class at that time. We're about 13th overall. Like I said, I had a great ride. One of the things that I try to do is stay hydrated and food.
And keep your gear clean.
Keep my gear clean. Yeah, Gio's all about the style. But
yeah, look at these guys, huh? look at us, look at them.
Yeah. So Score has we have a lot of road sections, and of course, there's 60 miles an hour is the speed limit. So you're just basically on the road trying to hold it steady. I use my fanny pack, and I actually tuck beef jerky and some energy little cubes, as well as some goo and things like that in there. I use Accelerate in my Camelback. But so as soon as I get to the road, it's mealtime, so that I can get re-energized. My section was about 5 hours of riding, so I got on about 11:15 in the afternoon, finished about 4:20, and but just excellent and lots of fun. And so after I handed the bike off to Tony Hammers, and we just put on the lights at that point. We were about 7th overall at that point. We were first in our class, and we had about 20 minutes on the second place. And so then Tony took off and had a great ride as well. But lots of fun. These guys battle, and that's the whole thing. Is you look at it and you look down at your watch and you count how many miles, and you say, well, this is only 600 miles. We still have 700 to go.
Yeah, true.
And that's like 7 or 6 full-on desert races. If you just show up at a desert race.
Back to back, same time.
Back to back. Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of chance for things to happen from here on out.
And so, what's next for the Hero Racing team? What do you guys do now after you celebrate for a little bit and knocking back those Julian hard ciders? But
that's right. So Score has announced their 2015 schedule, and it's going to be a 5-race series.
Starting with
the San Felipe 250.
In just a matter of days, really.
So, yeah, it's January 22nd this year, and so we've got basically 2 months from yesterday to get ready for that race, and, of course, that's a whole lot of sand whoops and some good stuff there.
How big an effort is this, even looking at this next race? I mean, collectively, man hours. Now you got to build a new bike or completely rebuild the bike you've got. I mean, give our listeners an idea what the commitment is.
Well, one of the things that everybody always talks about with the Score races is the hardest part about the races is getting to the starting line, because there's so much that goes into prepping the bikes, into pre-running, making sure that all of your volunteers are still on board. You have your chase team. Everybody's taken off vacation time. I mean, we're not, we're
not moneyed professional racers.
No, we just
who booked these guys?
We just dress like it. Our shirts make us look that way. But there's just even reaching out. I mean, just to give you an example, just even with my interaction with Broc and what he has to do with Dunlop to get his tires, that's one of maybe 20, 25 sponsors that we send recap decks to them. We send them photos. We show them our outreach that we do, making sure that we present ourselves properly. And Ronnie Lachine, and he gave us a bunch of oil and filters. From Maxima. And he... and all these guys just coming together. I mean, we're very fortunate, too, because, and I was talking to Gio about this yesterday, we're being in the backyard that we're in right here and growing up in San Diego County.
It's easier than if you were in, say, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, just being able to go and, Hall of Fame, AMA guys, that are, saying, hey, let me make a call for you. Let me see if I can get this, that, and the other. But... you have to go and you have to make sure that you do right by these guys and you get back to them and their bosses. And it's just not one of those things that, that it's that easy just to get to the start. But as you mentioned, bikes. I mean, the bike is out in the parking lot right now.
We'll be posting pictures on Bike Week Radio.
At least it was.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how far it'd go right now, but it's pretty much pretty beat up. But yeah, we're excited for the next season, and hopefully we're gonna get some more prosthetics out for some veterans and help some more kids out. And hopefully a year from now we'll have some more good news for you guys.
Well, great stuff. Once again, we always like checking in with you guys. Paul Thomas, Giovanni Spinali, and John Griffin, thank you guys again for coming in studio. Everyone, where can they track the progress of Hero Racing or get involved if they want to support you guys?
We have our Facebook page, Hero Racing, and that's or just come out to the races, and hopefully you'll see us out there. So we're just a gritty little team, does our best. So
hey, Desiree, have you ever done the off-road racing with a team like this?
No,
Yeah, we could be starting something. Maybe a match. Huh?
I like it.
You talk amongst yourselves.
Perfect.
Well, thanks again also Desiree Bates. You can check out her stuff at fightforocotillo.wells.com. And if you missed any of today's show, just head to the website, bikeweekradioshow.com, or check us out on iTunes. We're podcasted there as well. Paul Carruthers, great work out of you. We'll see you next week.
I'll be here.
Thanksgiving week, we will roll you in studio.
I won't be here.
You'll be here.
I'll be calling
on
it.
air.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Scott Cox will be here. Broc Glover will be back in studio.
I'll be chewing on a big old gnarly turkey leg.
Thank you guys again for joining us. We'll be back next Sunday right here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
You've been listening to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Join us next week for more Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.